Emily had always been drawn to Mr. Thompson's charismatic smile and kind demeanor as her teacher in her high school days. They had shared a whirlwind romance during her senior year, but life had taken them apart. He had gone off to college on a scholarship, and she had stayed behind to attend a local university. They had parted ways, promising to stay in touch, but eventually, all communication had ceased. Years later, Emily had become a high school teacher, and her life was going according to plan. She had built a loving life, and she felt confident in her abilities as an educator. That was when she saw him again, Alex Thompson, a senior student in her class, with his bright blue eyes that seemed to sparkle in the morning sunlight. Emily couldn't help but feel drawn to him, but she couldn't quite explain why. As the months passed, Emily found herself looking forward to her interactions with Alex more and more. He was an excellent student, but it was his charming smile and effortless charm that had won her over. They would talk about history and literature, and Emily would find herself laughing at his witty remarks. She was careful not to cross the line, but her feelings grew stronger each day. One day, while sipping coffee at a quaint cafe, Emily bumped into Alex's father, Michael Thompson. Michael's eyes widened in surprise, and for a moment, they just stared at each other. Emily's mind began to whir as memories came flooding back. Michael had been her high school sweetheart, the love of her life back then. But they had parted ways, and she had assumed he had moved on long ago. As they chatted, Michael mentioned that Alex was his son, and Emily's heart sank. The revelation hit her like a ton of bricks. She was falling in love with her own student, the son of the boy who had captured her heart all those years ago. Panicked, Emily excused herself, claiming an urgent meeting at school. She needed to clear her head, to process the information that now made her feel guilty and disloyal. The more she thought about it, the more her feelings seemed to twist and turn. She couldn't shake the thought of Michael and his son, the realization that Michael had moved on and had started a new life with someone else. When she finally returned to the cafe, Emily spotted Alex sipping a coffee beside his father. Michael caught her eye, and for a moment, they just stared at each other, the memories and what-ifs lingering in the air. Emily felt like she was trapped in a nightmare, unsure of how to navigate the complicated web of emotions that had entangled her. The moment had come for her to make a choice. She could confront her feelings, acknowledge the past, and move on with her life, no matter how difficult it might be. Alternatively, she could try to hide her emotions, pretend that she didn't know, and risk being trapped in a web of secrets and lies. Either way, Emily knew she couldn't hide her feelings forever. The question was, what price was she willing to pay for the truth? The memory of Michael Thompson, her high school sweetheart, hung heavy in the air. The thought of him, his boyish charm, and the promise of their youthful love. It felt like a lifetime ago, a distant dream, but the discovery of his son, Alex, brought it all back. Alex's striking blue eyes, the way he held his head, the way he smiled, it was all too familiar, too similar. The darkness within her, the forbidden thoughts she tried so hard to suppress, began to surface. Emily found herself in a maelstrom of conflicting emotions. She was drawn to Alex, the student, the boy who stirred feelings she shouldn't have, and the son of the man who once held her heart. She started seeing Alex in a new light, not just as a student, but as a phantom echo of the past, a painful reminder of what she had lost. Her days were filled with a clandestine longing, an unspoken desire that consumed her. She reveled in the dangerous thrill of their secret encounters. Every look, every word, every shared glance was a forbidden dance, a risky game she couldn't stop playing. She told herself it was a harmless fascination, a twisted fantasy she had created in her mind. But the truth was far more sinister. She was falling for him, and with each passing day, her feelings grew stronger. Her sense of morality started to unravel, replaced by a dark obsession. The cafe meeting with Michael became a turning point. The sight of father and son together, the realization of the past, sent a jolt through her. She walked out, a desperate need to escape, to clear her head, but the guilt was a persistent shadow that followed her. Back in the cafe, she couldn't bear to witness their connection. She had to get away, to distance herself from the reality of it all. She felt torn between a need to run and the irresistible urge to stay and face the storm. The truth was, she was no longer the same woman. The once loving life she had built, the confidence she held, was now a facade. This dark romance, this forbidden love, was consuming her. She knew the price she would have to pay, her reputation, her career, even her sanity, but she didn't care. She found herself walking the halls of the high school late at night, the emptiness amplifying her sense of aloneness. She would linger in the library, touching the books, imagining Alex reading beside her. She'd sit in her classroom, picturing him in his seat, the sun catching his hair, the way he would meet her gaze. The boundaries blurred as she began to use her position to get closer. She would extend assignments, creating opportunities for one-on-one sessions. She'd find excuses to meet with him, to steal moments of intimacy, fueling the dark desire that had taken over. Her nights were filled with feverish dreams and unsettling thoughts. She felt the dangerous pull of the abyss, the tantalizing allure of the forbidden. Her longing turned into an obsession. She knew she was playing with fire, risking everything, but the danger only intensified her desires. One evening, she received a message from Alex. He wanted to talk about a poem they had studied in class. Her heart raced as she composed a reply, the words feeling heavy with unspoken meaning. She knew what she was doing was wrong, but she felt helpless to stop. Her world was now a dark, thrilling, and dangerous romance, where she could only see one outcome: destruction.